important than most everything was this idea of duty, what you are meant to do. So for a Spartan, they believe that you are meant to fight for Sparta. Your job as a boy is to go to war and make Sparta strong, and your job as a girl is to go get married and be strong and have kids that are strong. And that was their duty. And so with strength and duty being two important aspects of this, discipline wound up being very important, where this idea of you needed to do your job, your duty, you need to be strong, or there'd be consequences. This idea that you have to be practiced, you have to be drilled. So discipline is a huge important aspect. And what's interesting though is Sparta is going to be a very, very powerful city-state. Sparta is going to have tons and tons of strength, but they really didn't use their army to go conquer or anything like that. We think of Sparta and we see how strong they are, how they focus on war, but yet they don't choose to go to war unless they have to. They keep to themselves. Now let's contrast them with the Athenian values. So let's look and see how Athens was different. They thought individuality was important. The idea of Alex getting to do what Alex longs to do, Ivan getting to be Ivan, Khan being Khan. Whereas in Sparta, they saw all three of those gentlemen as future soldiers. But what if Ivan's a poet? What if Alex is an artist? What if Khan is an architect in nature? So those are things that don't form, easily into just being a soldier. Those are things where they have to create. And so Sparta says, no, you must all be the same and be strong. Athens says, no, be yourself. And with that, this idea of finding beauty and creating beauty. They wanted their world to be a beautiful place. They wanted art. They wanted music. And that all goes together, this idea of freedom, that you should get to go do what you want. You should be able to go contribute how you best can contribute. Whereas Sparta certainly doesn't have freedom. I mean, if you're a boy, you lived in the military barracks from age 7 to 30. You didn't get to even choose where you lived. If you had to go be in the army, you had to go do this. But here's the interesting contrasting point. Sparta, although powerful, kept to themselves, where Athens, despite saying individuality and freedom was most important, they wanted to control as much land as possible. So we have an interesting dichotomy here where Sparta prepares and equips itself to dominate, but they don't. Whereas the Athenians say, hey, we should go make art, we should go do trading, but yet they want to control. So it's a really interesting juxtaposition. So let's start off talking about Athens, and here this little arrow is showing us where Athens is today and where it was long ago. Athens is a particularly cool city that if you go there, you can see the ruins, right there. So the Athenian government. Now, as we talked about, Athens is going to be the home of democracy. Athens will have a tyranny and they will overthrow their tyrant. They will get rid of him because he was as a tyrant is, because he was cruel, he was harsh, he lied to the people. And they create direct democracy. And remember, direct democracy, this is important, every citizen votes. And so they create a system where all citizens, which unfortunately were all males of Athenian parents that are 20 or over, they were part of the government. They had the ability to have public debate. They had the ability to go discuss and vote. And one of the things that becomes so important is the idea that the idea of debating, of discussion. We're going to see an age where the tongue is considered one of your most important abilities, the ability to go and speak and to persuade. And we're going to see this carry on even through Rome as we go through these next last couple of units. Now, just like we had Kirthana answer in the in the homework, all citizens had responsibilities. They had to vote. They had to participate in government. So this was something that, it was a privilege and a responsibility that you needed to go and have your say. You needed to go and have your voice be heard and your ears open to listen. And that's one of the things that, we say today, even in our democracy, although we're not a direct democracy, that it's your duty, your privilege to vote. And, we're very fortunate that, particularly in our last election, we had more people voting on both sides than ever before. And more people having their voice being heard is a good thing. Now, let's go, and I'll tell you what, we're actually going to we're going to pause there. We didn't get quite as far as I had originally intended, and that's okay. I rather us take our time through it as opposed to rushing through things. So I'm going to stop the recording at this point, and I want to discuss